folded piece of paper right there. It's called origami. It's actually a wallet, a paper wallet. It's something that, if you owned a store and you're selling that, you'd have a really hard time getting me to pay $1.50 to buy that. Yet that piece of paper I keep in my car. I see it every day. I have for the last 4 months. It sits in my center console, right next to where I place my phone. And I'm a guy, if you ask my wife, she actually thinks undiagnosed I have OCD about clutter. And I hate paper. I run paperless offices. Yet I keep that folded piece of paper that pops, bright colors on black interior, in my car. Now I'm supposed to talk about sustainable innovation, so you probably think that it's made out of recycled paper, but it's not. And you might think there's some kind of high-tech new development in the paper industry, and that's what that's made out of, but it's not. You might think my 5-year-old daughter made that for me, but she didn't do that either. But that folded piece of paper, it means so much. And I'm going to come back to that in a second. My name's Mike Wan. I often joke with friends that I'm the D-lister here in a list of A-list celebrities. Imagine how I feel batting the 2-hole after a brand like David Gibbons. But I'm just a guy who dropped out of college his first time around, failed hard, got lucky, and I'm here to share my story. And so I'll start by making a statement that we're living in an amazing time. And all this is driven by young people. When I define young, I talk about maybe age 37 and younger. You see, when I first dipped my toes in the startup world, it was in the 90s. You probably know this as a dot-com boom, or the dot-com bubble and bust, depending on the lens you use to view history. And back then, innovation was all tech. In fact, if you asked anyone back in the day what stopped them from starting a business, they would all say they couldn't find someone who couldn't afford to build a website. Because in the 90s, that's all you needed, that was everything, and all the money, all the venture capital funding, all the angel investors, all that money was going into building websites. That was innovation. And this is what a hotshot team of developers in the 90s got to. That was Yahoo in the late 90s. It looks like a Microsoft Word doc with word art on the top. But I specifically bring these guys up. You guys know they had to sell at a fraction of what the peak of their market cap was recently. What you may not realize if you're, again, what I classify as young people, is Yahoo was the hottest, sexiest person at the bar back in the day. They were the one, if they were throwing a party, you wanted to do everything you can to get invited. When they were on the dance floor, everybody watched. This was innovation. And we can talk about what today is considered the king of form and functionality, right? The leader in design, 2001, Apple. This was innovation to the people who made the iPhone, right? And that's what they considered innovation. Here's the thing, the barriers for getting a business up and running, barriers for getting a site up and running, they're gone now. And this is a classic example. I have 4 companies up and running right now. These are the websites. 2 of these were built by people with 0 development experience. 1 we built with a little bit of help from a developer. So 3 out of the 4 sites were made by HTML illiterate, JavaScript ignorant guys like me. And we were able to get it up and running and run profitable businesses. Now don't get me wrong, innovation in tech, it's alive and well, it's thriving, but I'm here to talk about a parallel movement that's happening. And it's actually being driven right now by the demographic that's 37 years old and younger. It's who I'm going to talk about today. We're constantly referring to them as young people. Young folks in their 20s and 30s. This is the demographic that's projected to have the largest consumer buying power in the history of the United States. And they're driving this parallel movement of a new kind of innovation. And they're doing it with this one statement. And that statement is consumers today, they want brands to align with their values. And so this is where the story of my company begins. So So I had a good friend, he traveled to Southeast Asia with a bunch of businessmen. He went to visit some nonprofit businesses out there. And he came back with two takeaways. The first thing he came back with was he did the one thing every guy, if you ever travel to Southeast Asia, this is the one thing you absolutely have to do. You go and you get a bespoke suit made. Because it's pennies on the dollar. A bespoke suit here in the United States, to get into an entry level one, you're talking about a couple grand. Out there, you're talking about a couple $100. So you have to keep in mind, this is a guy who he openly admits his wife does all his shopping because he has no style. Well, he got back from this trip, and he showed up at a friend's wedding shortly after, and no joke, he was the sharpest dressed guy in the wedding, dressed absolutely smart, and again, normally the guy has no style. So he came back from Southeast Asia with a killer bespoke suit. And the second thing he came back with was an observation that all the nonprofits he worked with, they were all struggling financially. Right? Because donations, as you know, can ebb and flow. And on top of that, when you're working in poverty-stricken areas, there's only so much the local people can give back to help out. And so when he got back, we decided to have lunch, and we asked ourselves this question: what if we brought that tailoring skill set to the U.S. market, but used the people that these nonprofits are working with out there as our boots on the ground, right? To teach them in entrepreneurship, teach them Business 101 skills. And we ended that lunch literally saying, what the heck, let's go for it. And the end result is we ended up creating, at least in the US, the first made-to-measure clothing subscription for men. But here's the idea is this: instead of writing a one-time donation check, we created our goal was to create a sustainable income source for that community out there. But where we started was the slums of Bangkok. And we ended that lunch saying, let's go for it. And here's the amazing thing, the most amazing thing about having a story associated with your brand, is that people want to talk to you. They want to listen to what you have to say, to what you're doing. They want to work with you. Similar people come together, they want to share, and they want to help out. They combine and there's synergy and cool things happen. So a year later, this is how our company looked. The logistics of our clothes, the people who make it, the people who do the ordering, the quality control, we actually were able to hire a couple people out there who grew up in the slums of Bangkok and actually have them on our company payroll to handle all that for us. The accessories were made by people who were rescued from human trafficking in Cambodia. The bags, there's two types. One of them you see up there was made by a company who rescues people from the sex trade in Kolkata, India, arguably the largest red light district in the world. The other bag, a group from Kansas State University created a sourcing company in India. And their sole purpose was to use the profits. The company was a shell business, and all their profits do is it goes back to build schools in the poverty-stricken areas of India. Our marketing, you talked about cool stories. Dave and John of Shark Tank connected us with Nifty, the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. They focused on promoting entrepreneurship in the low-income communities of this country with a strong emphasis on keeping kids in school. And he created a marketing relationship between us and Nifty. And this is what happens when you have a story. See, the reason we're all here is to help this generation of young people, 37 and younger, who played such a big part in bringing this wave of sustainable innovation, because you guys want brands to align with what you believe. We want to transition you from becoming the consumer, from being the consumers who are pushing this movement, to being the innovators who are perpetuating this movement. So like I shared, the tech barrier is lower than ever now to create what we call in the business world an MVP, a minimal viable product. Just the basic business to get launched. Website, marketing, logistics, payment processing, that's all available in these simple do-it-yourself tools that anyone can do. Consumers are demanding that the brands that they purchase from do good. And so many young folks I talked to today, they actually have a strong desire to change, to shape the future, literally the definition of innovation. So all the stars seem to align, right? Everything is lined up. So what is it that seems to hold people back? What is it that I've seen? To me, it's the mindset. See, what if I told you that you're allowed to give yourself permission in your head to admit that if Hillary were elected president, It would have been amazing for women and would have been a wonderful state for our country. But at the same time, you give yourself permission to understand that the world actually didn't implode under Trump like everyone thought it would, and that he's doing a decent job up to this point. On the flip side, what if I told you that it's completely okay for you to think Hillary Clinton is disingenuous and Donald Trump is a womanizer? What if it's all right to say you enjoy the songwriting of Taylor Swift and the entertainment value of Katy Perry, regardless of their bad blood, as they say? And this is the one that I don't understand, and I was trying to learn prepping for this. I was talking to a young 27-year-old, kind of right in the middle of that cutoff of what I consider young people. And she was talking about what I call young people. That's 26 and under, right? Young people. They're fans of Chance the Rapper. And old young people, 27 to 35, they're Drake people. And she was trying to explain to me that you can't really, there's this line where you can't really, if you're a young person, you can't really be a Drake fan, and if you're an old young person, you can't really side with Chance the Rapper. I don't understand it, but this is one that I think we'll all understand, and this is probably the biggest debate that will mold our generation. It will solve all the problems of the world. What if it's okay for you to love In-N-Out and at the same time crave Shake Shack? Right? So I bring this up because of this. The most successful business people that I've ever met, they don't restrict their mind. They don't handcuff themselves by falling for the trap of having to choose one thing or the other. Every successful person that I've met, they believe you can do one thing and the other. See, it used to be, when I was growing up, that if you wanted to do philanthropy work, you had to join the Peace Corps. You had to be a part of Red Cross. If you wanted to be a missionary, you had to be a pastor, maybe a doctor, but it was usually pastors that would go out there. That's all changed. Now it's business professionals that are leading the charge in changing the world and shaping the future, both around the world and at home. You see, I happen to believe that you don't need to choose between chasing profits and shaping the future. Depending on, I'm one of those guys who believes that for-profit companies can do just as much good as nonprofits. And in the right situation, you can do more good as a for-profit than a nonprofit. You can run an innovative for-profit company in a sustainable, innovative way. See, here's the thing about me, and I know some people disagree with this, but I'm okay with trying to make money. I'm good with trying to make a whole lot of money, boatloads of it. And I know I get it all the time, and you guys have heard it too. I know money doesn't buy happiness. Right? But one thing that I've studied is that there are people out there who are 20 times smarter than me that connect wires to people's head and nodes to their body, and they run all these tests, and they've actually figured out something kind of cool about the way we're built. When it comes to happiness, they've seen the chemicals, the neurons that fire in your brain, that human beings are actually happiest when we're giving. And so, while I know money doesn't buy happiness, I'm all for trying to make as much money as you can, because one thing I've learned is the more money you have, you can do a whole lot more giving in life. So I happen to believe that job that you have now, you know, that dead-end job that you feel boxed in because of it, right? It's that job that you want to quit because you want to change the world and chase your dreams, but you can't quit because that job pays the bills, so you feel trapped. I happen to believe that job isn't the roadblock for you, keeping you from changing the world. I happen to believe it's giving you the means to change the world. Because I believe you can do two things at once. It's easier than ever to get things launched. So back to that wallet, that folded up piece of paper, that $1.50 thing that'll probably wear out in a couple weeks. So there's a story behind that wallet. And before I get into that, I want to get 4 volunteers of what I consider young people, 37 and under. Just 4 people, raise your hand. Are we all old here? All right, we have 1, 2, perfect. What are you guys' names?
Huh?
Nick. Brian, here you go. Elijah, here we go. 2 more. Brian, you guys can take a seat. Peter. Nick. Good job. Kian, Bryles. Elijah. It wasn't a lot of money. I gave him $5. So you don't need to regret not raising it. See, I stay somewhat active in the Pepperdine entrepreneurship program. I am a dropout, but I did eventually go back and get things done. And one of the first exercises we have everyone run when they first start the entrepreneurship program is we give every student $5. And we tell them their goal for that semester is to go out and turn that $5 into revenue. 9 out of 10 people fail. Well, one day I was up at Pepperdine and I was judging a pitch competition up in Malibu, and up comes this young lady. It was her turn to do her pitch. And she gets up there, she starts her PowerPoint, and the first thing I see is a picture of a paper wallet. So immediately my brain is checked out. I'm thinking, oh, this girl doesn't have a chance. I'm kind of tuned out at that point. Well, she started going through her pitch, and it turns out that that idea started from this $5 exercise. You see, with her, she has 3 siblings that she takes care of on her own. They're what you're, I guess, clinically called developmentally delayed. Some people call them special needs. In our immature days, we probably call them a lot worse in life. Well, this girl, she took that $5. She went to one of those fancy paper stores in the mall, went to the back shelf on the sale rack. She bought a pack of paper for $5 because with her siblings, she has to take care of them. So she decided one day she was going to set up snacks, she was going to play music, she's going to create templates and make it a fun event, a fun day for her siblings to fold and make these paper wallets as an activity. She wasn't sure if it would be a business, but she wanted to give them something to be proud of. She wanted to have them accomplish something. She wanted to love them. She wanted to give them something to be proud of when the world tells them that they're not worth anything. So they made this wallet, and according to her, it was a train wreck. But during the pitch, she was sharing the story that the next day she took these wallets, and as she was walking around her office, the lady who works at the coffee stand at the bottom of the building sees one and asks if she can buy one, so she sells it to her. And the next day, a random guy at her business campus was walking by, sees him, asked if he could buy a set to give to his whole family. And she started telling the story of day after day. People were coming up to her asking if they could buy these, what I thought were crummy $1.50 paper wallets from her. So here's the thing. That girl, she works in finance at Boeing. Anyone in here in finance or accounting or study? My apologies, but that is the most boring, bland, vanilla job in the world. You want to stick a pencil in your eye? You go to finance. But here's the thing. So she does finance for Boeing, but she has a heart for kids with autism, for children with autism. And the thing is, her job isn't a roadblock to doing what she loves. It actually gives her the means to do what she loves. Oh, and that $1.50 wallet I was telling you about, she actually was telling me in a separate conversation that, and her exact words were, I feel so bad because I'm selling these for $10 and people are buying them. It's a paper wallet. But the thing is, people aren't paying $10 for a folded up piece of paper. They're paying $10 for a story that they believe in. And that's what things do when you have a story. With $10, you want to talk about profits, you want to talk about making money. You think with $10, you can figure out a way to employ more people that society says are unemployable. You think with those kind of profit margins, you have some wiggle room to donate to different charities that support autism? Here's the thing, she's not changing the world. And I'm not either with my clothing company. But she's changing her world. And I'm changing mine. It's the world that we're connected with. It's the world within our span of control. And we're doing it as for-profit companies. We're doing it because we have a story behind everything we do, and we're doing it because we have one career that is paying our bills so that we have the freedom to pursue the career that we love. So you don't need to choose either or. Change your thinking to think and. So I'll end with this. I want to leave you with 6 key thoughts. Always remember the hurdles to creating an MVP, a minimal viable product. They're the lowest they've ever been, the lowest I've ever seen in my lifetime. So there's no excuse not to get started. Second, your story. It makes a difference between being able to sell a product for $1.50 and being able to sell a product for $10. 3, profits are good for doing good. Don't be afraid to admit that. 4, always think in terms of and, not or. 5, change your world before trying to change the world. It's an easier place to start. Oh, remember those ugly websites we saw, the Yahoo and Apple, and how those were actually considered so innovative in the late 90s to the early 2000s. Here's the thing about innovation. Innovation always starts with rigid design, clunky UX. It's always ugly. The first go-around is always ugly. But with the right consumer push behind it, it becomes beautiful. All right, so maybe, just maybe, this whole belief that young people have of wanting brands to do well, maybe it's the start of something new. Maybe we're innovating into a world where we can create sustainable jobs, build up communities where it normally wasn't possible in the past. And maybe, since you guys, young people, have been the drivers as consumers, maybe it's time that you guys take the lead as innovators. Thank you very much.